What's up, everybody? Seth from Jump Ship here with Chyna Cho, long time now jump shipper since the start, and fellow Hawaii resident like myself. How's it going?
It is going great. It's another beautiful but windy day in paradise, so can't really complain.
Chyna begged me to be on the show after seeing the Jason Khalipa video of him doing Amanda. She was at the games that year as well. And
I was front row seat to that him almost breaking the camera clip. And Freddie and I were literally yelling what you guys were literally yelling. Wait a second, just wait like 20 seconds before you pick this bar up and all that kind of good stuff. But he didn't listen to us.
I don't think he could hear literally anything.
He was blacked out.
Yeah.
He was blacked out for sure.
So
hi, Danny.
Danny's popping in. She wants to say hi before we get started.
No, that's not what you spelled it wrong.
Oh, she's fixing an error.
Notification.
Okay, boom, fixed.
I love spelling errors.
I'm full of them. I go too fast.
Oh, I love them.
Okay, so real quick before we get started, I have to do some super quick announcements. We still have our backpack promo going. So if you sign up for any of the programs, including the Jump Ship crew, which Chyna writes all the Masters stuff for, right? Yeah. You get a free backpack after your 7-day free trial. Pretty cool. Pays for the cost of it in itself. Let's see. We have Danny actually made a new program soon to be released called Pump Ship. I'm on the second week of it. I've been her dummy. It's for people who maybe don't necessarily want to do the CrossFit training session every day. They just want to focus more on some aesthetic stuff while still keeping up their conditioning and aerobics, and it's kind of cool, and it's super challenging for me, and you get it done in 45 minutes start to finish. So
will it help your strict pull-ups though?
Oh, it's tons of strict pull-ups.
But will it help yours?
What do you mean? What's wrong with mine?
You kip.
All right. Chyna says I kip by strict pull-ups too. All right. Well,
I'm
trying not to. Okay.
Maybe her program will make you better.
They're a little questionable. Okay, fine. Yeah, her programming will make us better. So that's going to be released soon. Pump Ship's coming. Shoot, that's all I can think of right now. I'm probably forgetting something, but I want to get into obviously this. I showed my shirt. I'm going to get into the history of Chyna and her competition experience because my whole show lately has been just about digging up the old CrossFit media all the way back to like 2003, 2004. Chyna, when did you start?
I started in August of 2009. And then I qualified for the games in 2010, where they still had the qualification process of a sectional, which was like a local live competition, which went to a regional, where from there you went to the CrossFit Games. And 2010 was the first year that it was in Carson, California.
So talk more about sectionals. How'd you get into sectionals?
Sectionals, I think, was you just sign up. Like you could just go.
Because the Open was the next year, right? The first Open was the year after.
2011. Yeah. So you just signed up, and when I joined the gym, the coach actually happened to be Jason Khalipa's coach at the same time, Freddie's coach at the same time.
Was this at One World?
No, he broke off from One World. So he was a trainer at One World and then moved to a neighboring city, opened a gym. It was called CrossFit Unlimited, which is now CrossFit Milpitas, which is still a thing in California. They're doing great. And he was still good friends with Freddie. So he ended up programming for Jason, me, this girl, Megan from Unlimited at the time, and his brother. And so he was like, hey, if you want to, compete, there's like the CrossFit Games, but you have to qualify for it. You can't just do a 1-hour class and expect to be able to handle 2 to 3 days of competition. So maybe you do this extra stuff. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this. I got this. Anyway, that's how I met Freddie. And yeah, you just signed up and it was like a 2-day live competition. We did like, I think 6 workouts. It was rough.
Yeah. Wad Zombie's asking if you have an agent that he can contact. Me. I get to be on the screen.
Contact Seth.
Probably Freddie, right? The other
Freddie,
bag man. Yeah. They've been calling me the bag man online recently with all my backpack giveaways.
Okay.
But I think the official bag man actually goes to Freddie, who's been carrying your bags for over a decade at the CrossFit Games.
For real. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so you made it to the games 2010. Anything memorable from 2010 other than watching Jason Khalipa? Anything jump out at you about, that's your first year competing at the highest level? Like, what do you remember from that year?
Well, I remember that year they did ring handstand push-ups, the low ones for the men. Yep. The women had to do deficit, but just on plates.
On a wall.
But what was kind of crazy is I had just had my third knee surgery. And they put pistols in a workout. It was like a pistol deadlift double under workout. And I could not do pistols on my left leg. And so I thought I was going to have to be disqualified and all this stuff. But then they told me that if I wanted to do all like 90 pistols on one leg, I could go for it. Oh, I broke my back because it was like 205 deadlifts, which at the time was like pretty heavy.
I remember that.
205 deadlifts. And it was like 30 pistols or something. And I did them all on one leg.
Good Lord.
Good Lord. Yeah. So not only like you just blow up one side of your back and then I like broke my back to do the deadlift. So anyway, you were able to do, they kind of just called an audible and were like, well, F it. If she wants to do all her pistols on one leg, they made that game time decision. And I went out there when I was done crying and go.
Did they have the minimum work requirements back then?
I don't think so because they started off with Amanda, and I know that there were a ton of girls that did not get a muscle up, and you attempted to get a muscle up. So I don't think that they did, but they did have a cut, and I didn't make I made like the first cut, but not the second. Yes, I was 2 spots short. I think I was like 17th, and you had to be 15th or something.
And I just did the math. I was going back and looking just recently, and I think you were like 2 or 3 points away from making it into that final, and the final was brutal. It was brutal, but it was
Rich broke his ankle
off the rope. But it was
falling off the rope
too. It was all those burpees. It was the push-ups on like the super
over the wall
mats, and then burpees over the wall, and then the rope climbs. And it was. I watched the whole thing back from the last episode. So sloppy, like such a disorganized, like mess of a final. But it was like brutal workouts. It was
brutal. Yeah. So I literally was watching that, and at first I was like, man, I'm really upset that I didn't make it. And then I was watching it. I'm like, wow, I'm really happy I didn't.
All right, I'm good. Yeah,
I'm good. Like that's fine. But so I remember they called an audible. They didn't say alternating, but then they didn't say you could do it on one leg. So at first they told me, no, you can't do it. And then later on decided, like after I had a mental breakdown, they told me, no, actually do it all on one leg if you feel like it, which was not a good idea, but that's all I could do at the time.
And that's what sticks out to you from the 2010 games, huh?
Yeah.
The pistols.
Yeah. The audible. Yeah. They just called the random audible.
All right. So then after 2010, we go to regionals where you have to qualify.
Open.
Well, you have to qualify for regionals through the open. Yeah. So we're gonna put a little video in here, see if it sparks any memories for you. Let's see here. Bear with me. It's slow for me to get these videos up and going because I'm using one monitor to do it.
All good.
All right, 2012.
Oh Lord.
There's a little summary for you.
Oh yeah, California was split into two. Oh, I remember this workout.
Still up in the air as Northern California's top women entered the arena for the final event. They faced 225-pound deadlift and muscle up.
Miranda Oldroyd, all kinds of OG legends. Annie, there you are.
In the second heat, Miranda Oldroyd strong, blasting through the 225.
We had to start with Diane that year. I hated that workout.
So you had Diane this year, and then you also had deadlifts in this workout?
Yeah, we had Diane to start. Yep. And then we had the hundreds workout this year. Do you remember that one?
Ending with the overhead squats, right?
Yep. With all the pull-ups.
Swings, overhead squats, pull-ups, and something else.
No, it was like push press or something.
Oh, push press.
It was
at the end,
shoulder to overhead. Yeah, but it was overhead squats. It went like back squat. It was like 50 back squats, 40 front squats, 30 overhead squats with descending weight and stuff like that.
I'm thinking
no. The hundreds was from 2011. Okay. That was like 100 pull-ups, 100 kettlebell swings, 100 double unders, 100 overhead squats.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
But this one was like, it was so hot and no one used grips and I didn't know how to butterfly a pull-up and everyone ripped their hands anyway. And then we had to do toes to bar muscle-ups the next day in the sun again.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like competing back then versus competing now, did you feel more confident back then when it felt more like it had like a festival feel, right? Because like outside in these almost parks or whatever, like I remember back at the regionals at Reebok, right? It was like a big fitness festival in the Northeast. It looks similar here. I never attended one of these back then, but like compared to today where everything is like hyper organized and you're going in the feeder before you go and you're standing there waiting and you're out on the floor and it's like broad. Like, did you feel more confident in like back then with this style, or do you like the more professionalized style today?
I don't know. So I like we still had to do the feeder. Like we had to stay in the horse stalls, like they arranged you in your lanes, but they didn't call you quite as early because it wasn't as much of a production as it was before. But I did like the intimacy. Like everyone was so close. Everyone felt like, you know what I mean? Like you could feel the crowd, you could high five the crowd, you could touch the crowd, and not just like at a finish mat or anything. So I did like that vibe better. And I guess I did like it better because you didn't have to wait for broadcasts or anything. You kind of just went and they just like phoned it, or they did, little clips like this. They didn't put on the entire production. I think I did like it better.
Do you think people were as competitive with each other then as they are now? Because then I won't say everyone was friends, but everyone was friendly enough. Everybody that was there kind of already knew each other for the most part. I think at least that was the case in the Northeast. Like, do you feel like
I feel like you had a better sense of awareness of like where your competitors stood, because you like either saw them at a neighboring gym or you saw them in a local competition, or you know what I mean? Like you got to know the people a lot better. Like I knew everyone from Northern California. I knew everyone from Southern California. You know what I'm saying? And then when you combine these things, like there's a lot of outside influences. So yeah, I still think it was competitive, but you just had a better idea of like where people would succeed and where you could, take advantage of people, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Yeah, because you kind of know, you're talking about what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are back then. The field is, I won't say the field's not even necessarily smaller, but the top of the field that you're actually competing against is much more condensed. You know where your competition is. Whereas you go to a semifinal now and literally the top half, anyone can surprise you and make a move that year. Where that wouldn't have happened back then.
And a lot of the time, like the Open actually mattered at this time. So like you had to place in the top, 30, 40 of your region, and you had to have score, like videos, validations, all these things like to get there. And everyone was like redoing workouts left and right. At least I was, because I was trying to be in the final heat every time, because that gives you the best shot, of going to the CrossFit Games. Whereas now it's 25%, but before it was like, 10% or something, but you could still do like kind of bad in a workout or two and still make the top 10%. But if you did bad in one workout, like not good, you could maybe not make it to regionals or be in the first heat. And then you're like effed trying to climb your way back up, so I think that there was a lot more pressure on the Open. So your season, I think the season just felt longer because of that.
Well, and that's funny you bring that up, because in like several of the random shows I've been on in the last couple months, like that question has come up a bunch, like what your ideal Open looks like. That was actually one of the questions in one of the Coffee Pods and WOD shows I was on. And I was like, bring back the 5-week Open. I know it's a pain in the ass for gym owners, but what's a bigger pain in the ass? Running these ridiculously challenging, logistically set up qualifier WODs with like the gym you're going to now, the new jump ship Lahaina location, 1,000 square feet. What's going to happen when you have to do your
25 overhead walking lunges?
How are we going to we'll find a way to set it up for you, but like it's not super convenient for a gym or a gym owner to do quarterfinals. So why not just extend the Open back, make it matter, make everyone participate from the ground level up to the elite, doing the same workouts as serious as they can take it that year. To me, that's such a better Open than this. It's almost like fluff, like participation trophy Open. I hate it.
I don't like that. I mean, for the community, I guess it's good. Like, cause some people like, if you're just looking, I think like your average CrossFit athlete or CrossFit gym goer, they're like 5 weeks is kind of a stretch to commit to, but 3 is like less of a commitment. And you can kind of like, wrap your mind around 3 versus 5. So I see it in that aspect. But if you're going competition aspect, definitely 5, and definitely like the pool is too big. The pool is way too big.
And how many people fell off anyway? Even when you had the 5-week Open, the people who were doing it because they're participating and, I missed week 4. Like, they don't give a shit. They're just going to do week 5 anyway. It doesn't matter. But it still matters to a high level to the competitors who take it. And then the average person still gets to compete, participate with them at the same time. Anyway, I hate that the Open has no value. That's what
I agree. Because then I don't even want to do it.
Yeah, I hate it. And you're not getting a true representation of where people are at for the year. And the scores, like the leaderboard, who wins the Open is not an accurate representation of people's fitness necessarily. Not anymore. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole, we could do a whole show on that. So we won't.
I agree.
Okay, we're going to move on from 2012. Unfortunately, you came up a bit short this year.
I came up a bit short 3 years in a row.
Well, I was going to get to that. We have more videos. So, all right. So those are the regionals from back then. I'm going to jump ahead here in a second to another classic CrossFit Media piece. Let's see if I can find it.
I miss CrossFit Media. Those are so fun.
This was the best. My whole year centered around this. These stuff. I'll be honest. It's really hard for me to keep up as much as I know about the sport and as much as I want to be the world's biggest fan of the sport. It's incredibly hard for me to keep up with what's going on these days. I can't,
because it changes like every 10 seconds, literally.
The sport changes. The athletes it's not the same athletes year after year anymore. Maybe the top tier, but there's so much shuffling going on, which isn't a bad thing, but it's harder to have your people that you expect to see make a comeback or whatever. In the way it's presented, I don't think it's as good. I just don't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like
I'm really partial to regionals. Like I just loved regionals. I know it sucked that like everything came down to one weekend, but just like the CrossFit Games or the Super Bowl or the World Championship, like it comes down to one weekend. That's really what it is. So, I miss that format. So,
all right, let's watch a minute or two of this.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Chyna Cho.
Oh gosh, yeah, Angel. Oh gosh.
You said you're coming into this with no pressure, trying to have fun. It looks like you're having fun and kicking butt.
Totally am having fun. And I set myself up a little bit better than I expected. I was hoping to be in that 4 to 8 range, and now I'm at 2,
and a good first day.
I was breathing pretty good. Now I can breathe a little bit better, have a little wiggle room.
Is this Jackie?
That a lot of athletes
we did Jackie, and then we had to do a 3-rep max overhead squat and then 30 burpee muscle ups for time. I remember this.
Yep.
Kind of stick
to Wad Zombie makes a great point here. The majority of new era of athletes are disconnected from the community. Not only are they disconnected, they don't give back. They don't even try to give back. It's all about them, which is so different than the original athletes who would just, like you, would push CrossFit.
Yeah.
The new ones do not care.
Yeah.
That's not everybody, but a lot of them do not care.
Yeah.
I think are my biggest weakness. Damn you for doing 100.
All right, we can pause this.
Oh, look at those kipping pull-ups. Yeah. Watch out. Can't do them now, but could do them then.
You had a lot of throughout your whole career, you've had a lot of workouts where you have like these standout great events. Like
anytime the complete opposite too.
Yeah, well, exactly. So you have these like home run hitting events, then you have some where you're like, where's Chyna? Where's Chyna? Where's Chyna?
Bro. Dude, that year, I remember this because the 30 burpee muscle ups, I was actually the only person to finish that workout in my region.
Oh.
And
nice.
But we also had this, we were outside, it was windy, the straps are flying everywhere. So poor Annie Sakamoto had to wait for 7 years for the rings to stop blowing. You know what I mean? Because she's 7 inches shorter than me.
Yeah.
So there was definitely an advantage to being taller in that. I mean, obviously there's an advantage to being shorter in some situations, but this particular one, you could do that. But then the next day, once again, every year that deadlift box jump comes into play, which is all 3 years, by the way.
Yep.
I don't make it. And that was day 2. It was the hundreds. It was 100 dumbbell snatches, 100 pistols, 100 wall balls, 100 chest to bar or whatever. And the deadlift box jump workout. And shit the bed on that one.
That's so funny. That's so funny because that's one of those things that they have valued throughout all levels of competition for so many years. The CrossFit, maybe not as much anymore, but CrossFit used to just overvalue the deadlift and the combination of deadlift box jump crazy. And and there's certain athletes that just are never going to be good deadlifters and certain athletes are never going to be good squatters. Yeah. So you fell in that camp.
Still in it.
You needed the rope to be there, the climbing rope every year.
No, there was on the final this one, but it was one.
What was the final this year? Oh, was it a thruster rope climb?
No, this one was like a handstand push up, front rack, axle bar lunge, axle bar shoulder to overhead. But I think there was a couple rope climbs. There was 4.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was something the rope climbs were minor. It was more something else. But
did you have a shot to get in going into the final this year?
In this particular year, I kind of did, but the cards didn't go well. This was actually the year 2013. Annie, I think, thought that she had made it, but Margot had jumped like 2 places because they didn't do the point system. They just did place 1 gets 1 point, place 2 gets 2 points. So basically, like the numbers were just made things a little bit different than now versus like the 100, 95 or 96. You know what I mean? How that goes, like with the tiers. Yeah. Anyway, Margot like jumped Annie, so Annie ended up not making it. And yeah, so I think I like mathematically had a chance, but knowing the workout, I didn't have a chance. So
and every year, like from this range, there was like 8 or 9 women who are fighting for these like few spots. It was
for
like
3
super
spots.
competitive. Yeah, for 3 spots. In your region, I remember the West was, even for the guys, it was very competitive.
Yeah, because it was Neil Maddox, Jason, Khalipa. They like just ran the show. Yeah, the whole time. You know what I mean? Like.
And then you had guys like I don't remember what year, but guys like Ken Leverage was coming up, and there was a couple others too.
That was like 13.
Josh Bridges. So like I was real stacked back then. We're gonna go into one more video before we start talking about the future a little bit more.
Okay. We always got like the horse arenas, and like there were like goats right next to us. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
My favorite was Del Mar, but that wasn't until.
Oh, that was by far my favorite. Oh my god.
That was much, much later.
That was 15. That wasn't that much later.
That was when they started Del Mar, was 15?
Yep, 15, because 14 was at San Jose State, and then 15 through 18. 15, 16, 17, 18.
Okay, yep. All right, here we go. We got a little update show, one of the first update shows. Look how young those guys are.
I know.
She sets herself up very well going into the final 2 events.
She might have had one of the most exciting days as far as I'm concerned. Chyna Cho did exactly what she needed to do. Man, she has been clawing and fighting to get into the top 3, stay there, and get her butt to the games. Entered in 5th place, leaves not just in the top 3, but punched all the way to number 2 with a 1st place and a 5th place finish, and that put her ahead of Alessandra Pacelli, who sits in 3rd.
Margot Alvarez.
So
that was a really fun year for me.
That was a great. That was pretty much your like a re-breakout year, was it not?
Yeah, I started training with Neil that year, and unfortunately, this is when there were like 5 weeks of regionals, and you knew the workouts, and so you kind of like got screwed if you were first and screwed if you were last. And at this time, we were last. And Neil is the type that he thinks his like motto was always, if you have the answers to the tests, why wouldn't you study them? So literally twice a week for 6 fucking weeks, we did the regional workouts. And by the time, like Nasty Girls 2.0 is like 150 pistols or whatever, right? So I did like 1,500 pistols before the freaking thing. That's the first year strict handstand push-ups came up. It was like the 21, 18, 15, whatever, with the front squat and the burpees. I like my neck was broken by the time we got there because I'd done so many damn handstand push-ups. So anyway, we were the very last region to go in week 5. So everyone had punched their ticket, and we still had a whole day to go.
That was also the year of the single max effort handstand walk, I believe.
Yes, and the legless rope climb. Oh, second year though.
And they had, was it a 3-rep max snatch, or 3-rep max overhead squat? I don't remember.
No, that was the year before. That was 13. So this one was the hang snatch.
Oh,
this was the hang snatch.
Yes. Yeah, I knew it was some kind of snatch. Yeah, it was after the handstand walk. Yeah.
Oh, and man, like that was the only reason why I was like, thank God I have an extra 5 weeks, because I think I made it like 4 feet for the first 3 weeks. And I ended up getting like 90 feet or something, or 80 or whatever.
Do you think Neil was wrong for having you do the workouts that many times?
No, because I knew exactly what to expect. I mean, I think that my body was definitely a little more broken than it should have been, but going in, I knew my exact game plan, exactly how it was going to play out, exactly where I could push. But luckily, like a lot of these things, it's like strict handstand push-ups. If someone can do 20, that's not going to make me better. Like a legless rope climb. Like if you can do 10 in a row without taking a break, that's not going to make me better. So it was really just like staying in your own lane. And we did it so many times that I was like, I know I cannot push here. I know I can push here. And no one else is going to dictate, those outside factors. So for this particular year, I think that it really played to my favor.
I think you nailed it on the head. It's like, you're not going to get that much better at those high skill movements or those strict pulling movements or whatever it is. So you have to literally dial in your perfect strategy.
Exactly.
Not like, oh, I'm going to increase by 2 minutes on this. It's like, no, you're trying to shave off a few seconds to get to, beat 1 or 2 extra people. Because across 7 events, that score adds up into a game slot or not.
It really does. And so, like I said, and he was just like, and you need to do it different every time. So if you did like 5, 5, 5, 5, now you need to do 3, 3, 3, 3, or go for broke. And then you decide, like which one is going to be the best, depending on how you feel and whatever. So, I felt really messed up. I was really messed up, but
I was totally in that camp, and I think I still am. It's a little different now, obviously, but like back when I was writing all the regionals prep for Misfit, when that stuff came out, every workout had a component from regionals. Doesn't matter, you were testing the workout, and then through the week you were testing the movements in different patterns and orders over and over. And people were like, this is getting crazy. I'm like, it's sports specific now. It's literally, you want to get to the games. It's these tests.
They're giving you the answers.
Exactly. Why would you even work on anything else? Like, worry about the games if you get there. It's sports specific to these movements. So that's all you get to do. And I think it worked pretty well. We had a lot of, in that time I had a lot of athletes break through from regionals to the games for the first time. But so I agree. You have the answers, use them.
I think so too.
All right. So you got to the games many years in a row after that. And then you went team with Mayhem and won the team affiliate cup. How is it different? Obviously it's different when you go into Rich's house and train under, Rich's rule. How is it different training with Rich than it was training like in California or with other people?
It was like a different kind of pressure, especially with him in particular, because he's never the weak link. You are always the weak link. He's always fitter than me pretty much in damn near everything, like 99.99999% of things. So it was always the worry of like, I'm slowing you down. I'm the reason why you aren't, getting the best workout you could get because you're just waiting for me. You know what I mean? But he never made me feel like that. I just felt like that internally. But he did a lot. We didn't do that much like team things. Does that make sense? We did a lot of like the exact same things, but not a lot of like, he had to wait for me. Because he cared about getting fit.
Right. He made sure you guys were fit individuals that then came together in a team format later. Because let's face it, a lot of the team events, there's not that much synchro. And even if there is, it doesn't take that long. What's up, Freddie? It doesn't take that long to figure out the timing of syncing with a partner. So it's not that
absolutely
important.
Not. The only thing we kind of did was like the worm, obviously.
Which obviously takes a little practice.
Oh God, that thing is brutal.
Do you have permanent ear destruction from that thing?
No, do you not remember this? Okay, well,
Wait. Go ahead. I'm thinking of something, but go ahead.
No, I am too, and I'm gonna pull up the picture actually.
Okay.
But and I have it, but no, I don't because I wear the freaking headbands. Thank God.
Oh yes.
Because it covers my ears, but I would have had permanent ear damage or whatever. But you don't remember at that one camp that we had
in Dallas? Yes, that's what popped in my head. I'm like,
and Texas or whatever. Yes. I think I have it right here.
You, Danny, and
it was me, Danny, Chandler. Was it Chandler and Travis? I think.
Yes, I do remember.
Dude,
that.
I broke my neck. Like I'm pretty sure I broke it. This picture, it cannot be healthy. Wait, when was that anyway? Was that 2000?
Maybe 17 or 18.
I think it was 17 or 18. But dude, once I find this picture, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna take too long to do it. Oh Lord. But yeah, that was just like right before I went team. Remember when they were like move forward or something? And I moved forward on the worm, and I should not have moved forward. I definitely should have moved backwards. But okay, well I can't find it right now. But one day I'll find it and I'll post it because it's hilarious and awful at the same time.
Yeah, send it to me when you find it.
Because I broke my freaking neck on the worm with your wife.
I do remember that. All that happening. And there's definitely a video on YouTube somewhere about that.
There is a video for sure. But, anyway, I screenshot it from the video. I'll find it later. But
I won't pull it up because I can't give them any more views, so I'm not pulling it up.
No. I mean, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I have it saved because it was like, it's so bad. My neck was like, anyway. But
all right, so we're gonna jump right ahead. So
go.
Just because we're gonna keep this short and sweet for everybody, and you're gonna be a returning guest whether you like it or not. So
I'm in.
So Masters, you had a fairly successful first year in Masters. I know it wasn't the finish that you wanted in your first year, the 35 to 39. And then last year, you had to make that tough decision to not participate, which is what it is. How are you feeling now, today?
Well, mentally,
you have the Open coming up in 2 days. Like, where are you?
I feel fit some days. I feel really messed up. Like, God, you're old. Like, my mind is like 25 and my body's like a 95.
I feel the same way.
Which is, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I actually feel pretty fit. I'm definitely not that I was ever very strong, but I'm definitely not as strong as I was before. But weightlifting just really hurts me. So I just don't do it that much. And I think that maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't think that like being 1 rep max strong is that important. Like moving pretty heavy loads under fatigue is more important. So I feel like I'm decent at doing that. But if you told me to do a 1 rep max, I would definitely not do well. But I think that, that's like 1 of 10 events. So I'm better off being pretty good at 9 events than 10.
You don't do that bad. You don't take.
No, I don't do that bad. But
so
I don't
you're a mid pack. Depending on the lift, you might be lower half of that mid pack, but you're not out of it. But I do agree with you that your capacity to move your higher percentage weights for reps is actually a lot better than others, which is, in my opinion, more important than the 1 rep because it comes up more often. More often. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like even just like the individual semifinal last year or whatever, was it last year? Whatever year it was, where we had to do like 185 clean and jerks with burpee box jump overs. Do you remember? Was that last year? I think that was last year. Last year.
That was the final of the year before. I think last year's last event was the row thrust.
The row whatever. No, I think that was for the Masters. I was talking about for individuals. Whatever.
Individuals. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
You're right.
The individuals. But like my best clean right now is like 205, but I made all of those and made a semifinal at 185. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell me to do a 1 rep max, it's going to be like 186. But I can move 185. You know what I mean? Not as fast as other people, but I can still do it. So, but I feel pretty fit.
Are you competing this year?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool.
I like working out.
Do you have expectations?
I don't really know because like you said earlier, I don't even actually know what's happening. So
wow, we're gonna. That's the last thing I'm gonna wrap up with you today is like what you think is gonna happen.
I actually don't even know what's happening. I know that there's like the online stuff is all the same, but then the end is not the games. It's like the legends, right? Kind of
the games.
The pool is bigger.
Legends still the Legends competition that happened in Arizona is still its own competition. The games is run by the Legends guys who have partnered with the CrossFit Games. So it's a separate event that's in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, I think it's in like September, August.
Yeah, what's the holiday that time of year?
Labor Day.
Labor Day. Yeah,
I think September. It's September.
I think it's Labor Day weekend. Okay. I think. But anyway, how do you feel about the change to Masters coming away from the games and going to its own event? Do you think it's sustainable? Do you think it's the right move? Like, what's your gut reaction to the current state of the Masters games?
So I've kind of like been through all the stages, like you said. Like I've done the individual, I've done the team route, I've done Masters at the games, I've also done demo team. Yeah. I think that this could potentially be a good move because when you're a Masters at the game, like in the games with all the other individuals and teams and stuff, like you're definitely not on the same level. It's not treated the same in the sense of like crowd participation and coverage and all that kind of stuff. The behind the scenes stuff, they do great. Like briefings are great. Warm-up areas are great. Like the actual staff and the actual event is great. But when you're looking at it, I think from a media standpoint and from a crowd standpoint and like that type of thing.
Consumer
you're like,
nothing there
it's not anywhere near the individual or even like the individual semifinal level.
Right.
So I think that, it could be better, but I don't know. I honestly, I can't really answer that question. I just think that maybe something different is good. I don't know if it being that far apart from it is good. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. It's like having an election, right? You post this event up. and people can voluntarily participate. They can show up. They can pay for a potential stream if they have it. They can put their money where their mouth is in a lot of ways in this, because there's been an outcry. Well, it's weird. The Masters thing to me is so weird. There's an outcry from the community that they deserve more coverage. They deserve more this. They deserve more that than they're getting from CrossFit in previous years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one's showing up for them at the games unless it's like a direct family member. Like the stands were completely empty. I went to the games last year. There's no one there watching the match, and that's fine. But at the same time, like you said, the Masters are not on the level of the individuals. And if CrossFit is trying to promote the games, you can't promote Masters. You can't make the Masters the focus even for 1 second, because you're going to lose your target audience. You have to show 100%. The super elite. It's just the way it is. You know that. And so like, now when they have this external event, people can either step up, buy the merch, go to the event, volunteer, pay for a live stream if they have it, whatever it is, to try to inject a little cash to make this thing work. Or if everyone turns their back on it, I think it's pretty much over.
I kind of agree. I don't know. I know it's probably because of cost, but I think it needs to be in a desirable place.
I agree.
Where people want to go. Like, no offense, I don't want to go to Alabama. Like, most people,
know if I can go to Alabama from Hawaii. So
yeah, exactly. And so like, people want to go to Las Vegas. People want to go to San Diego. People want to go to even Miami or anywhere in Florida. Totally. Really, like, people want to go to these like these desirable places, and at least they can make it worth it, right? So that's what I felt about regionals being in Del Mar, and they also had it on like Memorial Day weekend or something like that. And all of our people and all of my friends always wanted to go because A, it was in San Diego, B, it was on a holiday weekend, and they could make it a trip. Like, watch me go to the beach, watch me go to the bars, or whatever, right? Like, it's somewhere you want a vacation. Exactly. Yes. And so, but now I'm like, no offense, like, Alabama's pretty. I've been there, but I don't really want to hang out there.
No one's itching to go make their vacation in Alabama. It's just the reality of it when there's other places.
Like, come to Hawaii. Like, everyone would want it. I feel like,
oh my God, you'd have to have the field much smaller and the event much smaller. Of course. That would be cool. I think personally, they should stop trying to make the Masters this big event, and they should make it more grassroots. You can still have your games and keep it simple. How cool would it be if they took the top 10 to 20 of each position, and Dave let them use the ranch and set up the ranch for the Masters CrossFit. How many freaking people would make the journey to the Mecca that is the ranch, and how many people be willing to participate, and how many just that experience alone would elevate it times 10, because people would be so excited for that opportunity. And you would get people that competed at the ranch in their first games who are now Masters to make this comeback, and you could tell this incredible story about it. And
it's in California. It's like located very close to an airport. It's close to San Jose. It's close to San Francisco. It's close to Monterey. It's close to Santa Cruz. Like, there's so many things that you could still do in like that location. You know what I mean?
I just volunteered Castro's house or his ranch for a huge event, but hey, he loves CrossFit.
I mean, who knows? I know, for real. But I think
anyway,
so. I'm not really
like
sure. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm going to do all the qualification process. Yeah, right.
Sold out of belts even quicker. I want a Dave Castro belt, but I'll never get one in time because he sells out.
Does he even have one? Does he have one?
Danny's trying to get Castro to make dog collars. Go figure. He probably will.
Does Doug have one?
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
It's a girl. Doug's a girl.
Sorry. I knew that. Come
on, man.
She. That's a big mistake. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. I mean, I obviously want it to be successful. I don't really know. It's like you said. I think it's just really hard, and I think making it bigger is good because that obviously more people will try, hopefully. But I just think getting to that location is going to be
bigger. Just costs more money.
That's also true.
More money.
That is also true. Which means it's going to cost more money for us to compete too.
Yeah. And if you want something to survive, you have to just make the barrier for entry for both participating and for consuming the event simple. And the bigger you make the event to appease the people that have the big egos that say, I need this grand red carpet rolled out for me because I qualified in the 50 to 54 division. Like, get off your high horse and realize it's not going to be a reality. You have to appreciate what they can bring you. And every time they try to kick it up a notch for the loudmouths, they're going to end up spoiling it for everybody else. That's my opinion. Just because we know how much shit costs to run events and run gyms and all that stuff. Like, nothing is cheap, and no one wants to just give money up. So, and finding sponsors is so hard.
Yeah.
So
I I don't know.
We'll see. We'll
don't
see.
know.
The
I'm
open
trying
starts
to
in
just,
2
the
days.
open's like in 4 days, so I'm just trying to like make it through the damn open. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today. My dogs
thank
have barked and have expressed that the time's up and that I need to feed them dinner. So that means it's time for me to go.
Okay. Dinner. It's 3
They,
o'clock.
they eat at 6 to 7 a.m. and like 2:30 to 3:30, and they will not shut up until they get.
What
their
are they
food,
like? The
so.
senior citizens? Like, what is happening right? The early bird special?
They used to eat at like 5 p.m. and then it went to 4:30, and then they begged at 4, and then so we just give in to our dogs. We're not really great with training them. We just let them run the house. So it's dinner time. They bark.
I mean, they do what they want. That's perfect. Good for them.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I'll see you Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining,
excited.
and thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.